9/11 was an extremely traumatic event, but through it all, there were a lot of stories of heroism. And on this week's episode, I want to talk about Roselle, the guide dog that helped her owner through it all. Let's talk about it next. We're going to get this week's episode going. Hey everybody, I am Jake with OnDog Training Academy, and welcome to the Learn, Laugh, Bark podcast. On this week's episode, so this is the end of the month, and one thing that I've started to do in 2024, at the end of every month, I wanted to highlight some sort of amazing thing that a dog has done, whether it be a dog handler team, a dog in general, just to sort of end with a positive note. Last month's episode was about a Malinois who saved her owner from a mountain lion attack, and this month's podcast is going to be about Roselle, a guide dog that on 9/11 did, in my opinion, something absolutely remarkable in order to save her owner's life. And so that's what we're going to be talking about on this one. So everybody knows 9/11 was a really traumatic thing. It rocked our country. It rocked the world. And there was a lot of absolutely just heart-crushing stories coming out about things that people had to do, and the people who didn't survive, and even the people now that did survive, and the medical conditions that they had to deal with. But there were also stories about heroes during all of this. And that, in my opinion, is exactly what Roselle is. She is an absolute hero. Now, Roselle is a yellow lab, and she is a guide dog for her owner, Michael. Now, Michael is a sales director, and he's been blind since birth, and he was working on the 78th floor of the World Trade Center's Tower 1. 78th floor. Now, that is a long ways up. And on that day, on 9/11, when all hell broke loose, Roselle, who had just been hanging out underneath her desk like she did every day with her owner, Michael's a sales director, and she was just hanging out under her desk, and boom, that first plane crashes into the tower. And everything's going crazy, all the chaos and everything. And after Michael made sure that his other employees and people were getting out of there safely, him and Roselle started their trek to get out to safety as well. And he had to, 78 floors. 78 floors. Now, most of the time, I would imagine, and this is just me guessing, they probably took the elevator, right? They took the elevator to safety. They took the elevator to home and work. But on this day, they couldn't. The elevator was not an option. They had to take the stairs. So once Michael knew everybody else was getting out, he and Roselle started their trek. And Roselle needed to guide him through it all. Through smoke, through debris, through fleeing office people that are just beside themselves on those stairs. Everybody was trying to get out. And here's Roselle doing what she was trained to do, which is to guide her owner, to guide her person. And she was able to navigate down, well, they say it's 78 flights of stairs. It's got to be more. If they're on the 78th floor, I can only imagine that it's more stairs. It's more flights of stairs than just one per. Maybe it is. I don't know. But either way, they're able to sprawl. They were able to get down the stairs. And by the time they reached the sidewalk, Tower 2 had been struck and was collapsing, and it was absolutely terrifying to Michael, of course, but Roselle stayed the course. Now, Roselle being a yellow lab, now I've said this before, I think labs in general are very bomb-proof dog where they can handle a lot of stuff. Maybe that wasn't the right choice of words, but they can handle a lot, and Roselle proved that every ounce of it. And she was able to They were able to run to shelter down a subway entrance, and they emerged from the underground tower as Tower 1 fell. And again, Tower 1's falling. They're out of the building, and that's debris falling. There's ash everywhere. If you guys remember seeing these videos, it was absolutely just chaos. But Roselle led her owner, Michael, 40 blocks to a friend's apartment and to safety. That is remarkable. As a dog trainer, this is a remarkable story. It may seem simple. Dog guided their owner down the stairs, got him to safety, the end. But if you look at what went into that, and you look at, we put a lot of training. We've trained service dogs. You put a lot of training into things. Who the hell trains for that? Who trains for absolute chaos? I mean, yeah, you have to proof things, but like, how do you proof that? That has to come almost from the dog itself. So to be able to go down from the 78th floor, take the stairs, people running, people screaming, people crying, and just you saw the videos of people on the stairs. It was absolutely chaos. And for this dog to just know what it needed to do and know it needed to get its owner out of there, I mean, that is remarkable. Michael had, I mean, this is a long time ago. I imagine this dog is no longer with us. Michael had an absolute angel of a dog for being able to do this. And again, not only getting down the stairs, but then when the towers are crashing, that noise, that sound that I think spooks most people and spooks a lot of dogs too, she stayed the course and then was able to go 40 blocks. Now, I've never been to New York. I don't know. How far is 40 blocks? It's probably fairly far. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's 40 blocks with everything that's going on. And this dog was able to guide its owner to their friend's apartment, to safety. And this is just, again, it's a positive story, which during 9/11, you need to hear these things. You need to hear the positive stories because it was such a traumatic event. And Michael went on. I remember when 9/11 happened, I was in high school, and I remember seeing this story come up. I remember him going on Regis and Kelly and Larry King and all these different places telling his story. And, back then I was still in high school. It really didn't dawn on me until I came back to this story not that long ago and read it and just went, I remember this guy. I remember this dog. Wow, this is incredible. And again, as a dog trainer, and if you own dogs, just as a dog lover, seeing the capabilities that our dogs have in them that we never even know. I've said it before on podcasts previous to this that you don't have to see a behavior for it to be there. You don't have to see that your dog will protect you. The last episode I talked about where the Malinois saved their owner from the mountain lion last month. You don't have to see that bond to know it's there. Dogs are absolutely amazing creatures, and for Roselle to be able to guide her owner down the stairs out to safety and to a friend's house is remarkable. You almost feel like maybe she was being guided by an angel or something, because that is just something you don't think could be possible. And it's a story I think that we should not forget. We should always remember Roselle, and she did pass away. I'm looking at my notes. She did pass away in June of 2011 at age 14. And obviously Michael and his wife Karen were by her side. And this dog has a special place in heaven 100%, because that is a remarkable thing. So guys, I don't know if this story was helpful. This story should just really make us feel good about dogs. And that's really what it's about. This one isn't about educating us on anything except for the story of Roselle and her owner, Michael, and what she was able to do on 9/11. So I would think, again, you look at your dogs and you can say, oh, these dogs, there's no way that my dog would do that. Don't underestimate your dog. Your dogs are very special. Most dogs have something in them that we wouldn't imagine could be possible. So I hope this episode brought you at least a smile, knowing that this was a remarkable story of a remarkable dog. If it did, if you like it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like this podcast, like our podcast, subscribe to our podcast, leave a review. if you feel inclined to. But this is the stuff that makes me love dog training and love dogs. When you hear stories of dogs that just go above and beyond anything you think is imaginable. And so this is a good way to end the month. We're getting into March. March is going to fire up. We're talking spring break stuff. We'll have a lot more stories and things like that coming up in March. But it's a good way to end the month. And hopefully it makes you guys smile a little bit knowing that this happened. This is a remarkable story. So guys, thank you so much for listening. And as always, we'll see you next week. Good dog.